I recently did a video about the lessons I learned while traveling during 2024, and one of them was about the value of solo tours. They help me as an older rider to stay independent, self-sufficient, and resourceful. I have also talked about the importance of taking a little risk and overcoming obstacles. However, there is a fine line between taking appropriate risks and doing stupid things. This is true not only for we aging riders, but for youngsters as well. An expert skydiver takes a lot of risk when they jump out of a plane, but they would never do so without properly packing their chute or double-checking their safety harness. An expert track rider like my buddy Ken Condon will pin his throttle and drag a knee on the racetrack, but never on the back roads of New England. There are times when the risk outweighs the reward, and wisdom is knowing how to balance the two. Whether or not I have developed a little wisdom is debatable. I will leave that up to others to figure out. But the thing I have found to be the most important skill in determining if I come home safely from a ride is my ability to leave my ego, that is my sense of self-importance or need to show off, at home. Or to put it another way, when I do stupid things are likely to happen. And yes, they still do every now and then. We ancient bikers may rationalize that everything we do is based on years of experience. But the truth is that we are not immune from making decisions based on ego more than some young whippersnapper feeling his or her oats. While it may not be riding fast, I see riders who are obviously struggling with their big touring bikes all of the time. It is tough for them to move it around a parking lot or to hold the line while cornering. While most of the time I say nothing, if it is a friend, I have pulled them aside and asked if they are having a hard time on their bikes. Of course, most of the time they say everything is okay and don't want to admit that it might be time to downsize or even move to 3 wheels. You know what? I get it. It is hard to admit that we are succumbing to the ravages of time. On this channel, I have talked about the importance of getting trained to better handle your motorcycle, especially as we age. However, do most riders do that? Well, of course not. They have 30 or 40 years of experience, and that is all that matters. This is not just true of guys who ride big touring cruisers. When I search YouTube, I am amazed at just how many older riders I find who have purchased big adventure bikes and think they can tackle any terrain on Earth. I am also amazed at how many who have fallen, broken bones, and had to be carted out by emergency services. And yes, I am holding my hand up for this one, because my ego told me once that I could go faster than I should and that I had the skill to handle the terrain. Just because I took an off-road adventure class and I was cocky. Well, I was also wrong. A broken foot and surgery to repair my left shoulder was the price I had to pay for letting my ego get the best of me. Watching this channel, you have seen that my choices in riding gear have changed over the years. 10 years ago, I was commonly riding in a half helmet and a short sleeve shirt. Looking the part of a real biker was more important than having the right protection from a crash and the elements. This was purely ego-driven, even though I told myself it was about comfort. I finally made the switch to a full-face helmet and protective gear after a ride on the Blue Ridge Parkway during a thunderstorm which included some hail. As my face was being pelted by 1,000 needles, I thought, you idiot, this is the last time you are going to do something this dumb. When you get back, you are buying good helmets and good gear for both you and your wife. Another thing I was not going to do again was listen to my buddies who thought we could ride through the storm rather than stop to put on our rain gear. Yep, all about ego. Kathy and I switched to climb jacket and pants so that we no longer had to worry about stopping to slip on our sauna suits. I relate these stories to illustrate that none of us, including me, are immune to allowing our egos to get the best of us. Even now, if I'm heading out on a short ride like to the gas station or the grocery store, I don't feel like putting on my full gear. So sometimes I just wear jeans. I tell myself that it is just a short ride and nothing will happen, but we all know that something could. I listen to my ego and I do it anyway. As I mentioned earlier, a certain amount of risk in life is a good thing. Taking on challenges brings rewards and can make you stronger, but you have to use your experience and your wisdom to make smart decisions. Motorcycles come with built-in risk and reward. We are vulnerable, fragile, exposed, but we also have freedom and we are liberated. We are surrounded by nature, removed from the cage. We are riders. The risk is inherent and worth the reward. Some of these choices might include getting a smaller, more easy-to-handle motorcycle. Don't let your ego tell you that you have to ride the biggest and loudest bike on the planet. You can still enjoy riding on a smaller bike. After all, isn't the point to experience the joy of riding, not the status of having the fastest or most expensive motorcycle? What is really motivating you? Maybe the types of adventures you have might need to change as well. I no longer care about riding massive miles, and I have a much better time while on the road. I have nothing to prove to anyone, including myself. Is it possible to go through life devoid of ego? Well, maybe if you're a devout Buddhist monk, but for most of us, life is an ongoing struggle to balance intellect and emotion. Freud would tell us that that is what the ego does. It decides between what we know is right and what we feel is right. Most of us know that twisting the throttle all the way back is not the smartest move on public streets, but it sure feels good. So which side do we let win? Of course, the answer to these questions I pose are up to each of you. Each of us is different and we age at varying rates. It is essential that we evaluate our skill levels honestly because our decisions could mean the difference between injury or worse and coming home safely so that you can continue to ride well into the future. Ride safe and keep squeezing your lemon.